Hi singers, welcome back. The last few weeks have been very exciting. We've had the Easter holidays here and I've been able to do some in-person singing, which has been wonderful. But all of that celebrating and singing combined with the onset of very aggressive spring allergies has left me feeling pretty run down vocally. And so rather than just skipping my practice altogether, I thought I would share with you a routine for a really gentle way to get the voice connected to the breath, harness that breath, and get some really healthy sound making going on. So we're going to begin here with just our standard breath exercise. I'm going to do it seated right now. So I'm going to begin here I'm sitting on my piano bench and I'm just finding my sits bones and allowing those to sort of press down into the bench. I'm going to think of those as acting like my new feet in the seated position. And then I'm going to just gently rock back and forth on those feet to try and find a neutral position for my spine. So I'm not going for ramrod straight. I'm going to allow the natural curvature of the spine to be there. But I do want to feel like I have some ability to ground down through the sits bones into that supporting surface. And I also want to feel that I'm not rocked so far forward on my pelvis that then the front of the abdomen is really distended, because that's going to limit my ability to breathe. So once I've grounded down into the bench, I'm now going to find those knobbles on the back of the neck and just lift upward. So I'm going to kind of stretch from both ends, driving down through the seat, lifting up through the back of the neck. And in that elongated position, I'm going to do some sponge breathing. So I'm going to sip my air down as though through a nice relaxed straw, down into a sponge that I'm imagining in the bottom part of the belly. Now in this seated position, because I'm sitting on a hard surface, I can almost feel that as I soften the guts and really allow them to drop downward, I can feel sort of a softening and spreading through the pelvic floor along the hard bench. And that's going to give me a really satisfying sensation of some feedback as I try to get this feeling of drop when my inhalation comes in. So remember, we're going for a released, dropped inhalation that moves downward. And then when I go to engage my breath outward, I'm going to feel the breath moving upward. So I'm going to kind of squeeze that sponge that's in the low belly, send the breath back up through the straw and out through the mouth. Let's do that together. So let's sip our air in and down, softening the belly down onto the bench. Now I'm going to stay elongated as I squeeze the sponge and send the air upward and outward. Once again, sip the air in and down. Nice plop there. Good. And now squeeze the sponge, air up and out. Now I'm going to sip my air in and down one last time. And now up and out on ooh. Ooh. So I'm going to try and stay in that breath cycle, relaxed in and down, supported up and out. But now I'm going to add my straw. So I'm just going to begin by some very, very simple sirens up and down through the straw. But it all begins with that same breath. So I'm going to sip my air in and down, put the straw on my lips, and I'm going to siren up and down. And again, sip your air in and siren. Now it may be tempting, or your usual habit, to think about your breath on the inhalation, and then once you go to making noise, you might focus more of your attention on the sound that you're hearing. I'd love for you to really stick with that feeling, and even though there will be a sound coming out, can you really focus on the sensation that you're squeezing down in that low sponge and then really focusing on moving the air through the end of the straw. So we're going to focus more on the motion of the air rather than listening to the sound that we're creating, because the sound that you're creating is not going to be a real singing sound anyway. So sip your air in and down, really relax it down onto the hard surface you're sitting on. And now go by feeling, up and out. Good. What I noticed that time is that it was harder for me to really feel that active upward flow when the pitch started to drop on the second half of my siren. So I'm going to do it one more time and try and do sort of contrary motion. Pitch will go up and then down, but air will go up the whole time. So upward, and then when the pitch goes downward, air still moves up. All right, let's try that together. Sip your air downward, let it release down onto the hard surface that you're seated on. Here comes the upward airflow. All right, I ran out a little sooner than I would have liked to, but actually it felt great. And you may be able to notice that even just from this very short session of working with the straw, I'm already getting a little bit more clear sound in my speaking. I'm just getting a slightly less effortful phonation, which is great. So now I'm gonna actually go to a little bit of pitched work, and I'm gonna start here. And I'm just gonna go down the scale. Ready? Sip the air down. Good, you've got the hang of it now. Join me. One more. Okay, I feel like I've got some nice relaxed phonation going, so I'm going to move to a slightly more engaged exercise. I'm going to keep moving upward, and we're going to still do these downward 5-note scales. So I'm going to come in with that ah exercise. We've done this before. It will be a NG hum, an ah on each pitch down the scale. And then I'm going to stay on that open ah and slide back up and down. So let me demonstrate once. Now I'm going to try and really stay connected to that flowing breath the whole way through. Let's actually do this one together. So here we go. Breathe down and we'll sing. And here. Now before I keep going upward, I am going to want to go upward because the music that I'm going to be singing contains a slightly larger pitch range. But before I go on, I'm going to actually do just a few more of these vocal sirens because I feel like over the course of the repeated iterations of that exercise, I've lost a little bit of my connection to my breath and I'm singing with a little more muscular engagement than I would like. So it's never a bad time to just take a pause, reconnect to your breath. So I'm going to sip my air down and really feel it spreading onto that bench, connecting to that low dropped feeling. Now a siren. All right, I'm really feeling in touch with my guts, with my breath. My breath feels active, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple more of this exercise. Here we go, breath down and go. I'm gonna really try and continue to move the breath here. All right, this has felt really good for me. I feel ready to head into my music, so that's what I'm going to do. And for the rest of you, if you're ready to now jump into some more music learning practice, or if that's all you're doing for today, either way, thanks for practicing.